Hello, learners. Welcome to our session on a very crucial aspect of marketing, especially when we consider the vast and dynamic rural landscape. Today, we will be exploring product levels and the product life cycle with a specific focus on their application and understanding in rural markets. This area is of immense importance as rural consumers have distinct needs and market conditions that demand specialized approaches. By the end of this lecture, you should be well equipped to first understand the concept and the various stages of product life cycle or PLC, specifically within the context of rural markets. Second, you will be able to identify the 5 levels of a product and grasp their significance in crafting market offerings. Third, we will explore into how to analyze strategies for each stage of the PLC that are tailored to rural consumer behavior. And finally, you will be able to evaluate the key factors that influence product acceptability and ultimately success in these unique markets. Let's begin our exploration. To start, what exactly is the product life cycle or PLC? Think of it as the journey a product takes from the moment it's introduced to the market until it's eventually withdrawn. This framework is essential for marketers everywhere, but it becomes even more critical when we talk about rural markets. But why is that? Because rural markets are not just smaller versions of urban ones. Consumer behavior, infrastructural constraints, and how quickly new products are adopted can differ significantly. A key characteristic you'll notice is that products in rural areas typically experience a longer life cycle. They tend to move more slowly through the stages of introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. This extended cycle is shaped by several factors, such as initially low awareness levels, significant distribution challenges in reaching remote areas, high pricing sensitivity among consumers, and the paramount importance of trust and usability in product choices. Therefore, companies need to be patient and strategic, tailoring their approaches for each stage. Now, let's talk about the product itself. Product decisions are the very cornerstone of any marketing mix strategy. Among the 4 P's, product, price, place, and promotion, the product is the most fundamental. It's what directly addresses the needs and aspirations of consumers. In the context of rural markets, this decision takes on even greater importance. Rural consumers often have distinct lifestyles, consumption habits, and value systems. So, crafting the right product isn't just about technical efficiency. It must also achieve emotional and cultural resonance. A successful rural marketing strategy, therefore, begins with a deep understanding of what product to offer, how to tailor it to the rural context, and how that product will seamlessly integrate into the daily lives of rural consumers. Simply pushing urban products often leads to failure. A critical parameter governing product decisions in rural marketing is acceptability. What do we mean by acceptability? It refers to how well a product is embraced by rural consumers and how readily it becomes a part of their consumption habits. This goes beyond just the product's core function. It involves multiple surrounding factors. Let's look at the key dimensions of acceptability. First, cultural compatibility. Products must align with local customs, traditions, and belief systems. For instance, aspects like color, symbolism, and even how a product is used must respect local sensitivities. A product perceived as culturally inappropriate is unlikely to gain acceptance no matter how good it is technically. Second is usability and functionality. Products designed for urban settings might not work well in rural conditions. Imagine an appliance needing continuous electricity in an area with frequent power cuts, or a complex gadget where literacy levels are lower. Therefore, designing user friendly products that can operate effectively in resource constrained environments is absolutely essential. Continuing with the dimensions of acceptability, third, we have packaging and branding. Packaging in rural markets should be sturdy, tamper proof, and simple enough to attract buyers. Often, it needs to include instructions or visuals in regional languages, or use pictorial depictions due to varying literacy levels. Brand symbols and logos must be memorable and build trust. Fourth is size and quantity preferences. Due to irregular incomes and high price sensitivity, rural consumers often prefer products in small, affordable pack sizes. For instance, many cannot afford a large bottle of shampoo, but will happily purchase 1 rupee or 2 rupee sachet for daily use. This strategy was famously pioneered by companies like HUL with shampoo sachet, making products accessible. Finally, perceived value and trust play a major role. Word of mouth, recommendations, endorsements from trusted local figures, and product demonstrations significantly influence purchase behavior. For example, in regions with water scarcity, a semi-automatic washing machine requiring less water and electricity is more likely to be accepted. Marketers must decode the rural customer psyche, understanding their aspirations, income, culture, and lifestyle constraints to ensure high product acceptability. So, to quickly recap, we have established that the product is the heart of rural marketing strategy. It's not enough to offer just any product. It must be carefully tailored to the specific context of rural consumers. And a crucial element for success is product acceptability, which encompasses cultural compatibility, usability, appropriate packaging and sizing, and the perceived value and trust it generates. Now, this leads to an important question. If urban products are often successful, why can't companies simply take these existing products, perhaps lower their prices, and sell them in rural areas? Why don't urban strategies always work in rural settings? That's a great question to reflect on. Many companies, when they first venture into rural markets, make the mistake of assuming that rural consumers are simply low income urban consumers. Based on this, they might just try to sell the same products designed for city buyers, maybe at a lower price, thinking that price is the only differentiator. However, this one size fits all approach often fails. The truth is, rural consumers live in a vastly different environment. Their daily routines are different. A farmer's needs for carrying meals to the field contrast with a city worker's lunchbox. Infrastructure is often limited. Power cuts are common, making electricity dependent products impractical. Joint family systems are more prevalent, meaning products might need to serve more people. Moreover, buying behavior is generally more cautious. Rural customers think carefully, looking for long-term usefulness, ease of repair, and sometimes even resale value. And of course, local languages and literacy levels impact how they understand packaging and instructions. So, simply lowering the price of an urban product doesn't make it suitable if it's too complex, fragile, or impractical for rural conditions. So, what is the way forward? To truly succeed in rural markets, companies must go beyond simply reducing prices. They need to adopt a fresh and innovative approach, often designing products from the ground up with the rural lifestyle, environment, and preferences in mind. This involves several key steps: conducting thorough field research in rural areas to understand daily challenges, actively talking to villagers to learn about their unmet needs, preferences, and limitations. Based on these insights, the focus should be on creating simple, durable, and cost effective products that solve real problems. Furthermore, using local languages and clear visuals in packaging and instructions is vital, as this ensuring after sales services and easy repair options even in remote locations. This user centric innovation is what differentiates successful rural products. Let's look at some companies that got this right. LG Electronics, back in 1998, created a customized television called Sampurna, specifically for rural markets. What was special about it? This TV supported regional languages like Hindi, Tamil, and Bengali for its on screen display. This made TV navigation much easier for rural individuals, especially those not fluent in English. The result? It became very popular, selling over 1 lakh units in its first year alone. LG also developed a semi-automatic washing machine tailored for rural use. Recognizing that many rural households are joint families and wash large volume of clothes, this machine had a larger capacity. Crucially, it also featured a memory backup, which allowed user to resume washing after power cuts, a common problem in villages. These are excellent examples of thoughtful adaptation. Another great example is from Philips India. They launched a special free power radio for rural consumers. Imagine a radio that didn't require batteries or electricity. A simple 1 minute winding allowed user to listen for 30 minutes. This was a game changer as it eliminated the ongoing cost and hassle of buying batteries, making it ideal for areas with limited electricity. Priced affordably at rupees 995, it was a truly smart solution. And consider Cadbury's Chocobix. Cadbury gained a valuable insight. Rural mothers often prefer giving their children biscuits rather than chocolate bars, as biscuits are seen as more affordable and filling. So Cadbury introduced Choco Bix, a chocolate flavored biscuit. This product cleverly combined the appeal of chocolate, practicality, and affordability of a biscuit, making it highly acceptable to rural families. Beyond the product's inherent features, its success in rural markets is also heavily influenced by the physical and social environment. This includes factors like the availability of infrastructure, think about roads, electricity, and transport. Weather and geographic conditions can affect how a product is used or if it's suitable at all. And of course, cultural belief and economic behavior dictate how people perceive a product's value. The product must provide genuine value for money and be suited to these local conditions. Rural consumers are very pragmatic. They often perform their own detailed cost benefit analysis before making a purchase. A classic example is Eveready. They had great success with plastic torches in urban areas, but these didn't sell well in rural markets. Rural customers, especially farmers, preferred heavy brass torches. The key reason was resale value. When the torch stopped working, they could sell the brass as scrap metal and get some money back. This really shows how practicality and long-term value, even beyond the product's primary use, guide rural purchase decisions. Let's pause for another quick recap. We have seen that directly applying urban strategies to rural markets is often ineffective because the ground realities, lifestyles, infrastructure, buying behavior are fundamentally different. The key lies in a fresh, innovative approach, designing products specifically for the rural context. We looked at inspiring examples from LG, Philips, and Cadbury, which underscores the success of such tailored solutions. And we also recognized how environmental factors and the rural customers' practical mindset, like seeking resale value, impact product acceptance. So, if we were to distill this, what would be the essential characteristics or key features that define a successful rural product? Indeed, there are several hallmarks. First, a successful rural product must be appropriate for the rural environment. This means it should be designed to cope up with conditions like frequent power cuts or even no electricity, dusty or muddy surroundings common in agricultural regions. Potentially rough use as items might be shared, and extreme weather conditions. LG's rural washing machine with its memory backup for power failures is a perfect illustration. Second, the product must be simple to use. Rural consumers may not always have formal education or technical training. Therefore, products need to be easy to understand, install, and operate, less reliant on complex written instructions, and ideally usable by people of all age groups, including the elderly. The Philips wind up radio we discussed earlier is a prime example of simplicity and convenience. Continuing with the key features. Third, a rural product needs to be visually identifiable. Due to varying literacy levels, packaging and labeling should be clear and easy to recognize. Often using bright colors and familiar symbols. It's crucial to provide information in local or regional languages and use pictures or icons to explain how to use the product. When consumers can identify a product just by looking at it, it builds confidence. Companies like Hindustan Unilever have effectively used brightly colored sachet and local language messages for brands like Wheel Detergent and Clinic Plus shampoo. Fourth, and critically, the product must be affordable. Many rural consumers have irregular or seasonal incomes. They tend to buy in small quantities and spend carefully. A high upfront price can be a major deterrent, even if the product is good. So, companies often offer products in small, low cost units like 1 or 2 rupee sachets, or create products that provide long term savings such as solar lanterns and reduce ongoing fuel cost. Cadbury's Choco Bix as an affordable biscuit fits this perfectly. Now that we understand what makes a rural product successful, let's delve deeper into the concept of a product itself. When companies create a product, especially for rural consumers, they tend to think beyond just the physical object. A product is actually a bundle of value offered to customer. This value can be understood by looking at it in 5 distinct levels, each adding something extra to the consumer's overall experience. These levels form what is called the customer value hierarchy. Understanding this hierarchy helps marketers design products that truly meet the needs and expectations of their target audience. Let's explore these 5 levels. The first and the most fundamental level is the core benefit. This is essential need that the customer is seeking to satisfy. It's the primary reason they are interested in buying the product in the first place. For example, a rural consumer buying a mobile phone is essentially looking for connectivity, the ability to make calls, stay in touch with family, and receive important information. At this level, the product is purely a solution to a need. At the second level, this core benefit is turned into a basic product. This is the actual tangible item with its most fundamental features that allow it to function and provide that core benefit. So, for our mobile phone example, the basic product would be a simple handset with calling and messaging features, a screen, a keypad, and a battery. It's the no frill version. The third level is the expected product. This includes everything that the customer normally expects when purchasing such a product. These are features and conditions that are considered standard or basic minimums, not special extras. Now, this is what we often see differences between rural and urban consumer expectations. For rural customers buying that mobile phones, they would typically expect clear voice quality for better communication, long battery life because electricity supply can be erratic, a user-friendly interface that's easy for all age groups to operate, and a strong build quality to withstand dust, heat, and rough handling. These expectations are shaped by their specific environment and needs. Next, at the fourth level, we have the augmented product. This level includes additional features and services that go beyond the buyer's basic expectations. These are not essential for the core function, but they make the product more attractive and offer extra value, differentiating it from its competitors. This is often where most competition happens in today's markets. In rural market, what might augmentations for a mobile phone look like? Think about features like an inbuilt radio for entertainment and news without extra cost, a flashlight feature which is incredibly useful in areas with power cuts, perhaps a basic camera and memory card support, and a display available in local languages like Hindi, Tamil or Bengali. However, a very important point here, especially for rural markets, is that these added features must not increase the cost too much. Affordability remains a primary concern, so companies must find a clever balance between offering extra value and maintaining cost efficiency. Finally, the fifth level is the potential product. This represents the future version of the product, everything that it could become over time. It includes all the innovations, improvements, and transformations that haven't been introduced yet but are possible as technology evolves or as customers' needs change. For our rural mobile phone example, what could be potential future offerings? Perhaps a solar powered mobile phone that charge in sunlight, which would be ideal for villages with little or no electricity. Or imagine phones that provide agriculture related updates, weather forecast directly relevant to farmers, or even vernacular voice assistants that can help users with lower literacy levels to access information and services. At this level, marketers are looking ahead, trying to anticipate and create new things to serve their customers, often aiming to surprise and delight them in the long run. So, let's quickly summarize these 5 product levels using our rural mobile phone example. The core benefit is connectivity. The basic product is the handset with call and SMS. The expected product includes good battery, voice clarity and durability. The augmented product might add a radio, flashlight, camera and local language display. And the potential product could involve innovations like solar charging or agriculture specific voice services. Understanding these 5 levels is crucial because it helps marketers develop offerings that truly match rural consumer expectations. In rural India, where conditions and lifestyles differ so much from urban areas, significant product differentiation often happens at the expected, augmented, and even potential levels. By focusing on practical features, ease of use, cultural relevance, and thoughtful innovations, marketers can design products that are not just useful but also deeply valued and trusted. Dear learners, till now we have discussed about the product and its different levels. In the next lecture, we'll be discussing the product life cycle. Thank you so much for listening.